Welcome to the SHT podcast. This podcast is created by our community, for our community, and for anyone else who wants to look, feel, and perform like a frickin' badass. Your holistic health journey starts and continues right here with us. Rediscover how you were meant to live. Is that what you wanted me to say?
All right, so what's up, y'all? So we are here today with Kim Selvage, and Kim is a super special person, and she's been with us for about a year now, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So she is actually embarking on an incredible journey, and I wanted to try to catch her before she left. We figured she's dropping off a bunch of stuff with me right now. She's doing the Appalachian Trail, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So, and that's going to be how long? You're going to be out there hiking?
You know, I know it's 2,200 miles-ish, and I'm starting in Georgia, and I'm going up to Maine. So I don't really know how long it's going to take me because some people have done it, with assistance in 40 days, and some people have one person did it for 40 years, doing a section at a time. But I'm going to do a through hike, so I'm supposed to start and make it to the end.
Yeah, we're thinking, 3 to 6 months?
That's right, 3 to 6 months, yeah, somewhere in between.
So I've been blessed with the honor of getting to mail her little boxes that are little check-in points and supplies and stuff.
Yes.
I don't know how the heck she picked me for that, but I'm
so thankful.
I'm thankful. I don't know why. It really just excites me that I'm doing it with her.
I think one of the reasons is because you've helped me build the boxes in the sense that there's the supplements that you've encouraged me to at least try to see how it's going to go on the trail. My collagen, and then...
Yeah, you're going to be taking supplements on the trail, and you can't stand taking supplements in general.
It's a big deal. But I've done them for about 2 months now.
Yeah, I'm
so
proud of you.
it's
really
whenever you did your supplement class, I don't even know how long ago that was, but that was my chance to bring it in. And honestly, I've had collagen every morning since I started doing bone stock.
Yeah, that's great. So dropping off boxes, I'm going to be shipping these to her, and I was like, man, I want to get her on here and just try to get you to share your story, because you're just I just think you're an amazing person.
Well, thank you.
I still remember seeing you in that first class and talking to you after the first, because you didn't make the very first meeting, did you, or did you? I can't remember.
I think I did make the first meeting, but I had no idea what I was coming to at all.
Or no, you were brand new at the time. You had just moved.
I was still living in a hotel.
Yeah.
I was not even settled into a place.
Yeah.
And that's what it was, is I waited. I went to the first class, but then I waited to start the actual progression a week later because I wanted to be in an actual home. So I took all that information in, but I couldn't start it until the next weekend. Okay. And
all right, so Kim Selvage, tell us about yourself. There's just a little introduction.
Okay.
I don't know what you'd like to say.
So I'll kind of sort of go backwards. I'll start with, I moved out here. I had an opportunity to come to work in Vegas, and so I took it. My kids are in college now, and so I thought this was a great opportunity to kind of do something new. Wanted a fresh start. I was starting my journey to eat right, but I didn't necessarily, it's one of those things where you think you know what you're doing, but then I went to the class and I'm like, so many things we're told, we're convinced. But it's funny because most of the time your body tells you, but we don't listen to that because, everything says you're supposed to do it, right?
It's hard because you have the messages that we've been brainwashed with our entire life.
Right.
And by the way, what you're saying is where we all were. We all started thinking we were doing the right thing, thinking we knew what was right. And I'm actually doing a video right now working on this thing about honed intuition, intuitive testing. And it's I think most of us were numb to the symptoms we were feeling at the time because we're so habituated to what we were doing.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, Facebook is kind of a funny thing. It's throwing memories up. And it shows me these photos that don't look like me. But I didn't know that. I remember one point where I actually made a big change in New Mexico. I went to this class, and I had allergies, and I wasn't feeling well, and someone even took a photo of me, and I remember I didn't even want to show the photo because it showed me that I didn't want to see. But I took that point, and this was about 6 months before I moved out here. And so, like I said, I'm going to work backwards. But that point was the worst point that was my highest weight. I won't admit to any more than this, but I hit 165, which was pretty heavy. And so I just decided I had to change something. And that was before I knew I was moving to Vegas. And so it feels like almost something went into motion. And I can't even describe it, but all I know is that I went to work and they promoted your class. And I remember going to the website, and I just remember it being black and white and a lot of different categories, and I didn't even know what some of the things meant, and I was just like, why not? And so I came to the class.
Like the categories like grounding,
yes,
and circadian rhythms.
I had no idea. I had an idea, but not to the extent. And so I came to the class, and I remember you came up and started speaking, and I thought you were going to introduce the person that was going to teach. Mm-hmm. And then and everybody knew you, and you knew everybody's name, and I was just like, I was kind of just out of my element. And it was just so welcoming, because the next time I came, which was 2 weeks later, everyone was like, hey, Kim, how you doing? How's it going? And I'm just thinking, wow. I mean, I'm new to this town, and I already feel like I have a family. Mm-hmm. And then this opportunity to go camping and get fresh air. And
you came at a good time. We did a lot of stuff.
The food thing is very important, but I think I've always been a water drinker, and there's just certain things I've done naturally. Mm-hmm. But the thing I was missing, and I will say this is probably good, this is working backwards, I grew up on a farm. Mm-hmm. I didn't wear shoes. We were outside all the time. If I wasn't feeling well, my dad never did medicine. He gave us a steak. Mm-hmm. And I'm not kidding. Like, that was his solution if you weren't feeling well, is he cooked a steak. So I was just kind of raised a little differently. And when I moved out here, you made a comment about grounding, and I had no idea what that meant. That was one word I think I remember, I thought I was grounding, and you're like, no, you actually have to touch the earth. And I was like, okay. And so I did that. I made an actual grounding garden. The place I was renting let me move all these rocks, and I made this basically dirt spot, and then I made it my own. Mm-hmm. I swear that was my turn. For me, personally, that was my turning point. Then we did a hike.
You're barefoot all the time.
I'm barefoot all the time. We did a hike together, and you kind of made a joke or something and said, hey, I'm going to walk down barefooted. I'm like, oh, I'll do it too,
Which one are you talking
That was Lone Mountain.
Oh, okay.
And so that was the first time I had done something like that ever. Mm-hmm. And all I can say is I started thinking about, like, when I go to the beach, how I feel, and I always thought it was the beach, but now I'm starting to think, it's because I'm not wearing shoes. And so anyway, that was of all the things that you've taught, that was probably the most simplistic, easy thing I did, and the most powerful thing for me. Mm-hmm. If anyone knows me, I'm a very hyper, high energy, always on the go. Mm-hmm. I have to slow down. Everything. I slow down my thinking. It's a change for me, and my body has been very happy with that. Yeah. So,
and it's everything that you're doing. So, like, what do you remember? Like, what was it like before? Because you've done a lot since coming here. You've done CrossFit. You've done the nutrition thing. You've kind of, because you attended like most of our lifestyle seminars.
If I could, I went to
that
it.
Stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
How to make kimchi.
Yeah. So, what was what did you feel like before that was different? Do you remember now? Like, tired
when I first started.
Well? Just before starting.
When I first started, my whole world was upside down. And honestly, when you're staying in a hotel for 2 months, even if I did eat right before I came here, which I didn't, but if I had, staying in a hotel for 2 months, I was eating just bagels and, the things that they put out in the hotel. Mm-hmm. And so I started this program, and I'm in a house, and I have the ability to go out and buy real food. Mm-hmm. And I really think the first thing I noticed was, my mental clarity was probably the strongest thing, because I always get frustrated because I think I have a very poor memory. Mm-hmm. And when you're inundated with new stuff, it's very hard to catch it all. But when I was eating right, and it could have been the meditating too, I don't know. I just know that all of a sudden I could think, and I could remember things. And I was so excited because I could remember something, But the other thing I would have to say, I always sleep well. That's never been a problem. Mm-hmm. But you taught using the phone, this little thing that's already on your phone about your bedtime, and basically get ready for bed an hour before bedtime. Mm-hmm. That was a nice...
The little alarm.
Yeah, that was a really nice routine. For me, I like routines, and so that was something that was very easy to add to my schedule, and I felt like I had better mental clarity because I was sleeping better and eating better. But the other thing that I absolutely love, and this I'm going back in time again, when I was in my best shape ever and I was young, I would climb a mountain in Colorado like a 14er, and I'd be on the trail for like an hour, and they basically said I was mildly hypoglycemic. And so I figured I was always going to have that problem. And pretty much I always did. We were doing this progression, and I remember I went on a hike, and I hadn't had anything to eat, and I wasn't hungry. Then I came back, and I worked out, and I wasn't hungry. And I went like a day and a half where I really wasn't hungry. And I was blown away by the person who couldn't go an hour, because I was one of those people. I ate every 2 hours. Proud of that. That was my routine. So I'm not.
And now you know why. Like,
I'm not anchored.
Why is it that you can do that? Like why?
This is my opinion. Is because my body has what it needs.
Yeah.
It's not getting confused. It's not having to think that it's got this awesome food source and then it tries to tap into it and it has nothing to give it. You know, it truly. And I should say also, before I moved out here, unrelated to this, I had my blood work done. And it was just a normal physical. Then I moved out here and I just had my 1 year physical and they were just blown away by my results. And I don't mind telling you, I was eating bacon pretty much every day. I even had it the night before my test and I was like, I wonder if I should have done that. I'm like, well, it's how I eat. So I'm just going to, it is what it is. Yeah. And my cholesterol was just phenomenal. And before my trek, I went ahead and I wished I would have done it last year, like you said. But at that DEXA scan
through DEXA Fit.
Yes, where they did my whole body scan. I just did it because I wanted to see what my body stats are before the trail, and I'm going to do it again after the trail and see, because some people say they lose muscle in their arms because their legs and their core are strong, but I just want to see what kind of impact it's going to have on my body. But I was pleasantly surprised already where I was, specifically, and you can tell me why, I don't know, but my bone density was off the charts good.
Yeah.
And I don't mind saying, I'm 50 years old, and she looked at me and she's like, this is phenomenal. Yeah. And she said some of it's genetics, but I happen to believe it's also the choices I've made in the last year.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of it's nutritional sufficiency, and then you're doing like some pretty decent workouts.
I'm doing my workout
stuff,
and then my hikes. I go
really
out.
Active, yeah.
So I'm just, and I actually think it's also because I get sunlight. I went days on end before here.
Absolutely.
Matter of fact, before I went to this class, it was very common.
All right, so we just had a little technical malfunction. So anyway.
So yeah, like I'm glad you brought that point up. The sunlight, the synergy of the synthesis of
vitamin D, and how that impacts like bone health and inflammatory health.
Because we're not made to be sitting in front of a computer all day long, and I would go to work in the dark, seriously, and leave in the dark. And so, I mean, some of the stuff I guess is so funny because when you mention it in the class, many of us, I'm sure, are going, "That's so obvious." But here I spent 2 months in the dark. I don't know that I got any sunlight during the workday at all. Yeah. And so just little things. I'm just thankful that these things have been brought to me, and I think it's one of those things you have to be ready to receive it, and I was definitely ready to receive it, thankfully. And because I feel so healthy and strong, I'm looking forward to my little trek to get more sunlight than I've probably ever had on a daily basis.
And I want to talk a little bit about what we did to plan for that, but I just want to say, like, you haven't even mentioned your body composition changes. Like, you look completely different. And it's hard. I see you a lot, so it's like I forget what, like you said, you just saw a picture of yourself like about a year ago or something like that. And you've just been through such tremendous changes, but you embody everything about what we're looking for from someone going through something like this because of your transformation, your personality, your outlook, your support, your involvement in the community. Like, I absolutely adore you. I can't even say that enough.
I can't thank you enough because I just told someone the other day, I think I'm growing young. Like, I should be growing old, but I don't believe that. But I have reversed the clock.
That's how a lot of us feel.
And a lot of the people, your class, and the people, the community here, they have embraced me. And when I just thought about this. That was one of my first amazing moments was Kat. She had that garage sale thing. And if you went to the gym or you were part of your program, she would just let you have clothes. And remember, I was living out of a suitcase for 2 months. And she shared with me clothes that because her body had been transformed, so she shared her clothes that she couldn't wear anymore. And they fit me at the time. And I can't wear those clothes now.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's actually a really good little story there.
Oh,
now you need to pass your clothes on to somebody
and
else.
I did. I have.
Okay, cool.
I have.
Yeah.
But she made it, that was one of those things where she just gave.
Yeah. Yeah, we have an amazing group of people, an amazing community, people that support, like, beyond what you would expect, and I think a big part of it is because people are just healthy and happy and vibrant, So
yes, everyone has given me so much, and when I think back on it, because Amy was another person who shared workout clothes with me, because I didn't have workout clothes. And yes, I can go out and buy stuff, but I can honestly tell you, I feel them when I'm like doing this stuff. I really
feel their energy,
their belief in me. I'll be honest, their belief. They were further along on the path than I was. I was this little green person who was just getting started, and they have so much confidence in the system, the method, the path, the journey, whatever. And when you're in the beginning of it, you don't see that. You just see their belief.
And you see them looking like amazing people, and you also don't know where they came from.
You don't.
You have no idea where everybody.
You just know where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm happy you brought up the confidence thing. Like, do you feel? And I know you do, but I'm just asking. Do you feel after a year of learning and coming to talks and seminars and progressions and experience and being a part, do you feel confident in what you're doing?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I know you do.
No, but I mean, and I actually have to. Bring it down sometimes because I'm so confident, I'm so passionate about it that I have to keep it in check.
Yeah.
In some ways, what I've just decided is, and I think this is where these people were already when I met them, was you just got to let people see it and feel it. And, but yeah, no, I can't even really, I wish I could put words to it, but I cannot explain how I feel. Sometimes you just have to climb a mountain.
This is what we want people to understand. I try to, like initially in some of the talks, like your life is going to change and you don't really understand how it's going to change. Like everyone wants the body composition changes. Everyone usually got their own little symptoms and things, conditions they're working with, but life changes completely.
Yeah, it does. How people interact with you, how you interact with them, how you show up. So, yeah.
I love it. How livable is it? Like, in your opinion, like I know you had to go through a transitional learning curve, but how livable is this?
Well, I think it's easier in the sense that like
limited decisions.
Well, I'm not eating all the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Limited decisions. You don't eat as much as often, and the foods that we eat are we're kind of like we have our list.
Yeah, and I would love to say that I'm 100%, but that we all have our things. But it's funny because when I feel like I go off. I love your better is better, and your no failure, there's only feedback.
What does better is better mean?
To me, I think it means just keep moving forward, for me. I actually have a saying that I was going to share with you, and you can delete this one out if you want, but it's, you may not like this, but it's good, better, best, never let it rest till your good is better and your better is the best. I grew up with that. So better is better works for me because that's a saying that I have in my head from when I was a kid. And I also always try to keep moving forward because I think sometimes, especially in the beginning, it's you try to do too much at one time, or I'm sorry, I try to do too much at one time. Your progression's nice because I really didn't know what you were doing to us. You just did these little steps. I can do steps. I can't do everything at one time. And so I think that's why it worked for me, is because of the way you approached it. Like you probably taught supplements. I didn't hear anything about supplements the first
bit, yeah.
But I didn't want to hear anything about supplements. But when you did a supplement class, I was open to it. I was willing to try it, and you were very kind, and you started me off with, things. Some of those pills are so big, but I'm getting there because quite honestly, I feel better. Yeah. And that is really what we're trying to do.
What about the failure feedback thing? You said what does that mean to you?
So that's interesting because I don't know if I've ever heard you explain it. So I'll tell you what it means to me. First off, it's on like the tracker and some other things. But I think we're all kind of hard on ourselves. I know we are all hard on ourselves, but we're not that hard on other people. And so it's funny why I don't know why we're so hard on ourselves. So if you could take away that concept of failure, and that just to take whatever it was. And I'll use something very simple. You climb a mountain and your feet hurt because you got blisters on the back. That wasn't a failure. that was a feedback that, oh, maybe next time you should wear better socks or tighter shoes or whatever. But you could go, oh, I'm not made to climb mountains because I got a blister. And you quit. Well, quitting never makes you move forward. That never gets you to the better is better. You stop that process. So to me, I think if you don't beat yourself up, because we're so rough on ourselves, if we can be positive, I think, even if we're not what we thought we were going to be a year from now, we're better.
Better than you were for sure. Yeah.
And that's where I am. I mean, I don't set goals like I used to. I used to set very aggressive goals. Now I just, I kind of do just moving forward. Like, because I always go I think I know what I'm doing, and then I go off on I did not sign up for your class to do the grounding, but that was evidently what I was needing at the time. Supplements, that just happened recently. That's where I needed to go.
Yeah.
So if you're not so rigid.
It comes to you in your own time when you're ready for it too. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I love it. What else? So let's talk about your trip. So
okay.
What did we do to plan for your trip?
Okay. It's kind of funny.
There's no doubt in my mind that it's going to be a great success, but it's very different from what a lot of people are doing. So it's a super long.
It's super long.
Super long trip, and then
it's huge.
What are we doing? What are we trying to do?
So,
what's the goal?
Yeah. So for me, it was honestly, while I feel so good, I wanted to enjoy this journey. I will say some people step on this trail, and all they're thinking about is Maine. They're starting in Georgia, and for 3 to 6 months, all they can think about is Maine. That is not my approach. I truly want to enjoy this. I'm doing it solo because I know there'll be people along the way that I will. There are people that are going to come and go. We do leapfrog where they'll be faster than me one time and then slower. But my purpose to do this is honestly to get away from computers, get away from cars, to get away from the normal stressors that we have in life, and just walk. Like, seriously listen. I'm kind of excited about the whole little survival, carrying everything on my person, that just in itself is kind of a crazy thought, that I'm going to be carrying 20 pounds basically, including my water. And that's everything to live off of. That's crazy.
Yeah. I think you're like one of the coolest women I've ever met in my life embarking on this.
It's crazy, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because again, people can't tell, but I chopped all my hair off. That's kind of silly, but
and I'm keeping it.
That's so funny.
What do you call
You're
this?
So funny. It's a braid.
I know, but what do you call it when it's a lock?
Yeah,
right?
It's a lock.
Yeah, I got
a lock.
I got a lock.
You got a lock.
From Kim.
That's so funny. And what's funny is I actually measured it. It's 2 years that I cut off.
Oh, wow.
And that was the years before I moved here. So I'm going on this hike with, this is very symbolic to me, but I'm going on this hike with everything that's happened since I moved here. Oh, I should mention, I did not move to Vegas to love it. I truly moved to Vegas to start over. And I figured it would be a 1 year and then I'd go somewhere else. And I am so impressed with Vegas. And I know it's because I found this community, without a doubt.
Yeah.
The people that love this place, embrace it, embrace other people who just move here. And I think this happens to a lot of people.
Yeah, I've said that too. I mean, Vegas, it's a great spot once you live here for a little bit. Like, you understand you have access to a lot of different things, a lot of different places. But the family that we built here, it just makes a world of difference.
It's amazing. Sure. It really is.
Yeah. So on your hike too, though, we're trying to keep it real.
Yes, and this is a big deal.
And most people, the food that they consume and they bring is we would consider it horrific, probably. And you're packing. What are you packing?
Yeah, I would love to actually answer this because I'm so excited about this part. I'm going to do, and I don't know how to explain it to other people, but I basically just tell them I'm going to eat real food. And then they look at me like they don't know what I'm talking about. Because
what are they bringing? They're bringing ramen noodles and crazy stuff.
They take pride. I've been following all these people, and then I have some friends who have done it before. They live off of ramen, dehydrated potatoes, hot sauce packets. Snickers is a big one. But food I've never even heard of, actually. But I have a personal goal. Obviously, it's to finish. But I want to finish stronger than when I started. And a lot of people say that the trail will beat you down and it'll hurt, everything falls apart because you're beating up your knees and your feet and your whatever. And I'm kind of approaching this in a way where I want to actually be stronger and healthier at the end. I know mentally I'm going to be stronger, without a doubt. But I want to show that you can be of my age and do this trek and eat right. Obviously, I'm going to have tons of water. So I'm going to be, I'm already a water drinker to begin with. When I go to towns every 3 days-ish, there'll be a town, I'm going to eat hot food. But other than that, I'm going to be eating beef jerky. My son made me beef jerky, which was very special. And then I have other things that I've bought, like Epic bars, the sweet potato awesome things. I'm going to do those.
So basically, we're keeping it real. We're focused on, nutrient density, caloric density through, traditional fats, healthy fats, because you're going to be using your own body fat for fuel.
Correct.
It's going to be way more efficient. It's going to be way more healing for your body.
Right.
We're in a different universe. Like, our rules are completely different from what everyone else is going to be doing out
I
there.
can't wait.
I think you're going to set a precedence. It's going to be great.
I want to.
It's going to be so great.
Because I know these people want to do well on the trail. And I know some of them think that by buying, I don't even know how much ramen costs, but I know when I was in college it was 7 cents a package. But I think what people have to realize is, did they save money if they bought cheap food, but then they have medical issues either throughout or at the end of the trail? So if they approach it with keeping their body strong, I think they might actually finish the trail faster, stronger, and they may have less recovery at the end because their body wasn't beat up. It was quite the opposite. It was, I don't know if these are your words, but when you say we do, we eat all the parts of the animal and everything, and I see this building block. That's, when they're missing something, their body's telling them. And again, I'm going to put this to test. I mean, that's why I'm doing all this, is because I want to see exactly what's going to happen to me on this trail. I'm pushing my body to the limit, harder than I've ever pushed it. Let's see how this goes. I mean, I really don't know. I have an idea.
I do too.
But
I have a lot of confidence in it, but that's exactly what we're doing. We're eating the things that are going to support the body, the healing of the body, the building of the body, and then also giving you metabolic flexibility and a lot of energy from fat. And I think, you're packing collagen powder.
I am.
You got some dehydrated organ meats.
Yep.
And then you're doing a lot of little meats and honey. And
yes, I have my
butter,
honey packets.
Yeah, all that stuff. So.
And then I'm going to actually, even though I have those little ghee packet things, I'm also going to obviously buy butter. Now, I will be limited. Some of the stores, I'll go through a town, and everyone shops at I think it's called a dollar store, and that's where they buy everything. So it's going to be, I've made these boxes that you were kind enough to mail to me, because I'm going to be in some towns where I have no choices at all. And then other towns, I will have choices. Yeah. So, but the restaurants, I'm going to be very grateful if the restaurants will tolerate my requests of cooking me just a lot of food that I'm going to pack out for at least the first 1 or 2 days until I get to a point where I'll eat my dried food and my very shelf-stable food. And you'll be proud of me. I actually have cans of oysters and because that's the other thing we didn't talk about. I didn't eat fish at all. Yeah. And I have introduced fish to my diet now.
Which oysters? The Crown Prince ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those.
And then sardines and something else, some other fishy thing. God. There's something fishy. Anyway, so, but I'm going to use this as an opportunity to try some new things. And this is not supposed to be a nightmare. This is supposed to be a dream. And so I'm just really... I should say, I leave tomorrow at 6 in the morning. Yeah. So this whole journey is really starting at this moment.
It is going to be a dream because you're going to support yourself the right way. And I think you're going to set a precedence.
I hope so.
If anyone is out there that's a freaking long distance hiker, hit us up because we put together a really awesome protocol. Yeah. And we'll get an update as you go.
Right. I'm going to stay in touch.
You should. Are you documenting? Are you blogging? Are you typing stuff out?
I did create a page on Facebook that I'm going to try to use as kind of like a blog, kind of. And then I'm going to keep an electronic journal using a software package called It's called Perspective, and you can take a photo and then just write something.
Oh, so great.
So I'm going to try to do that, but I'm not going to blog and vlog and all those other things.
You're just going to do it yourself and then share it later if you want to.
Right. Yeah. I'm going to share usually a few days after, wherever I pass through, when I'm in town and there's self-service. But some of this will be to be unplugged, but I do want to take photos because that is part of my joy.
Absolutely.
But
You're
I will be
an amazing photo taker.
But thank you. I will be definitely unplugged. I like one of your things that you've just recently done, which is my own mind time. And so I want to have my own time to think, and I know I'm going to have a lot of time to think. But it's funny. It'll be nice to also not have to think. So
yeah, I love it. Well, wish you the best.
Thank you.
We'll all stay in touch. And yeah, I adore you.
Thank you so much.
You've been such an amazing addition to everything that we're doing here, and I can't imagine this whole thing without you, honestly.
Well, I'm going to be bummed I'm missing all of our camping trips, but hopefully people will realize the value in, those beautiful opportunities to get out there and just be with people who can have fun while taking care of themselves.
All right.
So,
Look forward to hearing all the amazing updates, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
yep.
You're awesome.
All right. Cool. All right, I think that's all we got.
All done.
Kim Selvage signing out. Heading out tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.
That's crazy.
How?
I have a friend picking me up and dropping me off at the airport.
Okay.
Because I don't have a car after about, I don't know what time it is, but in a few minutes I will not have a car because I'm storing my car for several months.
All right, let me know if you need a ride or something.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. If you haven't done so already, I'd highly recommend subscribing to our newsletter at superhumantransformation.com, where you'll get access to all our PDFs and resources. And then I would highly recommend checking out our community website at community.superhumantransformation.com.
And just remember, the purpose of this podcast is to support our SHT community and to be in your ear as a go-to resource for all things SHT.
Yeah, so if you've fallen off, if you need support, just come back and listen to some of these episodes, get re-inspired, re-motivated, and re-engaged. And if you're new to us, the best way to get started is by connecting with us through the websites that we already mentioned, or you can just go to sht4life.com, where you can connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
If you'd like to support us, the best thing you can do is take the information and be living examples to others. You can also share this with people you care about.
And if you'd like to be a part of something amazing and help us empower the planet together, again, I'd highly recommend checking out our community website at community.superhumantransformation.com.
It's a wrap.